Hey everyone, Savannah here, and in today's exclusive Patreon video, we're creating a fun and whimsical treasure chest buried at the bottom of the ocean with a cute little crab. I'll be using my custom brushes, which will be linked down below if you do not have them already. Let's dive in and bring this treasure chest to life. First thing we're doing is changing the background, so go into layers, select background color, and scroll up until you find the treasure chest color palette. We're going to start with this really dark blue as our background, and then we're going to start building in some of the other layers here. So we're going to do a new layer, and we're going to work on the crab first. Make sure you have that circle brush selected. Grab that dark orangish red color, and let's start tracing and filling in the general shape of this crab. Once it's filled in, you can just take a look here, turn that outline layer off and just see, does the shape look good to you? If it doesn't, you can tweak it at this stage. And then we're going to do the treasure chest similar to what we did here with the crab. We're going to add a new layer, bring it below the crab because the crab is in front. Grab that really dark brown color, and we're just going to trace and fill in the shape of this treasure chest. We'll add details to the crab and to the treasure chest in a little bit, but for now we're just blocking in the shapes. And now we're going to do the ground. So we're going to do a new layer. I'm going to use my circle blend brush here because I'm going to build up the layer here. And then I'm going to use this brown sandy color for the base. Then we'll add some details in a little bit. And now I'm going to pick a color that's kind of blended between these two. So this blue sandy color, I'm going to add some shadow here. I'm going to keep it pretty light underneath the treasure chest and where the crab are kind of standing. And so just keep that in mind as you're filling it in. We'll go darker towards the outside, but kind of like a radial. So we want that center part to be brighter. And then I'm going to pick up this lighter orangish color just to add some more brightness to where they are standing. And then to blend it out even more, you can select one of those in-between colors. Again, to select a color from your screen, you just hold your finger down on the color you want, and that will grab that color in the color picker, and then you can use that to blend these out even further. And then I'm going to add a little bit of this light yellow to the center. Again, I want that light coming down from I'm going to kind of come from the top, a little bit off-centered, but it's going to come from the top, and so I want this to be very bright. We will add some shadows from the crab and the treasure chest in a little while, but for now, let's just get the brightness down, and then we can add those shadows later. Now that that is blended out, I'm just going to add the shadow in right now from the crab and the treasure chest. Because we already have them kind of blocked, we can see exactly where their shape's going to be. So I'm going to add that in now. And I'm still using that circle blend brush, so it is pressure sensitive. So as you see, I put a little bit more pressure when I first put this color down. It made it more pigmented. And then I'm using lighter presses and changing colors out as I'm blending it out. So I'm picking colors in between and picking the sandy beach color that's near it, just to blend that out a little bit more, make it a little softer of a shadow. Now that that is done, let's go ahead and add more to the upper area of the background here. So add a new layer, bring it below the sandy beach layer, and then grab this medium blue color and just start adding in some of this color to the screen. I'm still using the circle blend brush. You could switch over to the square blend brush if you like instead, but for now I'm just using the circle blend to kind of blend these colors out. I'm going lighter towards the top of the screen and darker towards the bottom, and then we will add that kind of light source in a little bit. And I'm just going to keep alternating, adding in that lighter color, that mid-tone, that darker blue, just to keep blending it out until it looks how I want it to look. And now I'm going to add a new layer, and I'm going to work on the light source. We will turn it off as we work on the crab and the treasure chest, but I want to add it now just for visual to see. So add a new layer, put it above the crab and the treasure chest, and we are going to grab this light yellow color. It's that same color we used on the ground of the sandy beach area. Grab that soft brush. This is one of the Procreate's default brushes. It's in my pack just because it's something that I use from time to time. So I wanted to include that. And we're just going to add some of this light source here, spreading it out a little bit over the crab and the treasure chest. And now that we have this placed, we can start adding details. So I'm going to turn that layer off. You just click that checkbox next to the layer, and we're going to add details to the crab first, then we'll work on the treasure chest. So make sure you alpha lock both of those layers. And then, like I mentioned, we're going to add some detail to the crab. So grab that circle blend brush, grab that mid-tone orange color, and just start adding in the color to the crab. Again, that light source is kind of coming from up above, so we're going to have more of that lighter color towards that direction, but we're just going to start adding in color and blending it out to bring this crab to life. And I'm going to lighten the front of his area here just a little bit. It's not directly hit with the light source, but I'm just wanting to add some lighter tones to his shape overall. So that's why I'm adding that there. Again, we'll blend all this out as we go on, adding more layers, grabbing these different colors. So I'm using that dark red, this medium red, this lighter red, just to kind of get the main colors down, and then I'll work on blending it out, giving more definition with the outline. So I do have the outline still on, so I can see kind of roughly where the legs are, where the eyes are going to be, and then I'll turn that off as I'm blending it out and start shaping it a little bit better. And don't be afraid to grab these colors that are blended in between. That helps blend it out even further. You can keep it with the main colors if you want it more of a stark transition. I like to blend them a little bit better, so that's why I kind of pull in colors in between. It just depends on the object that I'm doing. If I want it to be more of a stark difference, then I won't pull in that mid color, but because I want it to be a little bit more blended out, I will do that in this case. Now I do want to grab a slightly darker orangish red color, so I'm going to go over to the disc color area, grab a darker red and start adding more shadows here, it was starting to get a little bit too muffled with the three colors I had. So you can definitely do that if you want. You can, again, keep using the same three colors if you want to, but I just want to add a little bit more contrast, a little bit more shadow to really show where that light is coming from versus where there's going to be shadows here. And we are just going to keep building up layers here, grabbing those lighter colors, highlights, midtones, dark tones, and just keep blending it out until it's starting to look like you want it to look for this grab. And now we're going to add in a few details and the eyes to this grab. So we're going to grab this dark red color. I'm going to add a little mouth to this crab here and just a little bit of detail here. We're going to, on the same layer, we're going to do the base of the eyes, and then on a new layer, we're going to do the actual white of the eyes. I just did them on a separate layer because it's easier to blend those two parts separately. So for now, we're adding in a lighter color where the, I don't know exactly what it's called, but where the eyes are coming up, we're adding a lighter color there. We'll blend it out here in a second. But on a new layer, we're going to do the eyes. So you're going to grab this very light grayish yellow color, and we're going to do the outline of the eyes and then add the pupils and add some details. Once you have the shape done for the eyes, alpha lock that layer. We're going to grab this medium yellowish color. I'm actually going to add with the circle blend brush some darker tones in the bottom left of the eyes because again that light source is coming from the top, so I want to be a little bit lighter on top, a little bit darker towards the bottom, very lightly, and then we'll add in the pupils with that dark red color. And then we're grabbing that white color again and adding in just a little reflection on the eye here. And then we'll go back to the body layer and just blend in the part where these eyes are coming up out of the shell. We're just going to blend that in a little bit. Now we're going to work on the treasure chest, so make sure that that is still set to alpha lock, and we're going to grab an lighter orange color here to add some lightness to it. I'm going to try and do light strokes against the surface of the treasure chest. That's going to make it look a little bit more like wood grain. Don't worry too much if it doesn't look like that right away. We're going to be building up a lot of layers here, so you'll be able to do a lot of that as we go through this. And we're going to be using a lot of these brown, orange, lighter yellow colors for the treasure chest. We might pull in some other colors if we need to add even, more variation, but for now we're going to start with these colors. Now, one thing that I didn't do in this video that you'll see as we progress through, I forgot to do the buckles on the front of the treasure chest here. So as you're working on building this out, you can definitely add those. I would add them as a new layer. Don't do it on the same layer that you're adding in all of these details, mainly because it's going to be easier to add in highlights and shadows. But do a new layer. You can do them in any color. You can do them in the brown colors. You can do them as, gold buckle if you want to. But I realized as I progressing through this video that I did not do that. So if you want an extra bonus challenge, try to go off script and do this on your own. That's a great way for you to keep practicing using these brushes. So again, do it on a different layer. It'll make it much easier for you. But something I did not do was do the buckle. So if you want to do that, feel free to do it. And you'll see as we're going through this, I'm kind of doing a, blocking the colors in a little bit more than I am blending out. Some areas I did start blending out, but I wanted to block a lot of it so that I can see visually where those shadows, where those highlights are going to go, if it looks like it makes sense to me before I start shading everything in. And then always turn on your outline layer as you're progressing. And apologize for my head being in the way here. But turn off that outline layer as you're working through this treasure chest so that you can see, are those lines starting to get more defined? Where do I need to add more definition? It's helpful to see that because you can easily rely on those lines to visually see, oh, this is a treasure chest. But when you turn those lines off, it might not look that way. And so just make sure you're turning it off and on as you're kind of progressing, adding in these colors. That way you can tweak it as you go. You're not doing it all at the end. You could just do it as you go. I'm just using this dark color to add definition between the kind of, I guess, boards of the treasure chest. And so you could use this color, you could use it a little bit darker if you want to, but I'm just adding that as definition for the treasure chest so that you can see, okay, they are distinct boards from each other. And then I'm grabbing that darker color and I'm going to start trying to add some of that wood texture that I mentioned earlier. So I'm just bringing in really short little lines, vertical lines up and down to add that wood grain. And if you start your pencil in an area where it's darker and drag down, it will drag some of that color down. If you try to drag up, which I'll show you here in a second, if you try to drag it upwards, it will bleed into that or a darker color, which you don't necessarily want. So to get these kind of wood-like lines, I say it's best to kind of pull downwards with that darker color into that light area. And I'm just going to keep doing that same technique across the entire treasure chest here because it is a wood treasure chest. I want to look a little bit wood grainy, so that's what I'm kind of doing, dragging it across here to try and get more of that wood texture in the different areas of this treasure chest. And for this kind of inner part of the treasure chest, I'm going to keep it pretty simple. I'm just going to blend this out a little bit so it's not so splotchy. It looks a little splotchy to me, so I'm just going to blend it out. And then we're going to work on adding the treasure to this treasure chest. And now let's add treasure to this treasure chest, because why would we want an empty one? So let's add a new layer, grab this orange-ish, goldish color at the bottom, and we are going to just start tracing the outline of where this treasure is going to be. We'll fill it in, we'll add some gems, we'll add a little bit of details as well along the way, but let's add that treasure here. And I am adding a little bit of the coins sticking out at the edges here. So the top edge and the edge to the right, I'm going to add some coins that are sticking out. Again, we'll add details to make them a little bit more pronounced, but for now, just add some shapes here and there. And now we have the general shape. Let's add some blue gems to this treasure chest. I'm going to grab that darker blue jewel tone color. I'm just going to add some rough shape here. Again, the gem is going to be kind of tucked into the coins here, so you don't have to have the full gem showing, but we're going to add some gems here and there. We'll add up some red gems as well, and then we'll add the details. And I just kept the gems on the same layer as the coins. I'm going to blend in the coins into them a little bit, so that's why I didn't do it on a separate layer. You definitely can if you want to, but I just kept them on the same layer. Once we have those gems put in, we can add some details. So I did an orangish color for some details, so grab that circle blend brush. Orange details for the red gems. We have the lighter blue tones there. So we're just going to add some detail. Again, keep in mind that the light is coming from that top middle right-ish area. So I'm going to keep the right side of these gems a little bit brighter, the left side a little bit darker. Now we have the details of the gems complete. Let's go ahead and add some details for the coins. So we're going to grab this lighter grayish yellow color, and I'm just going to kind of do shapes of coins here and there. So again, the light's coming from the right. Essentially, I'm just going to add kind of these backwards C shapes of coins. That's where that light source is going to be hitting. And then of course, making sure your layer is alpha lock so that we're not going outside of the shape here. And then I'm going to grab an orange-ish color, a mid-tone orangish color to add even more definition. I'm going to kind of do it as little oval shapes like coins would be. And I'm just adding in that a little bit. Again, we want to build this up so it looks like we have coins. We don't have to do each individual coin, but we want to have a little bit of structure here so it does look like a treasure chest full of coins. And I did grab that lighter yellow-white color and I'm adding the oval shapes with that. I'm going to go over most of it with an oranger color or slightly darker oranger color, but this will kind of help build in those shapes a little bit more, and then we'll use that darker orange color to blend it out. And then I am going to add a little bit more lightness to these coins to just make them really pop. So I just grab that orange color. I'm going to go lighter almost to the white color and pick a little bit more yellow of a color, less orange, and just add some more details here. And then I'm going to go even lighter here and add some finer details to the right side. Now that the treasure chest is full of treasures, I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to add sand in front of the treasure chest here to look like it is buried a little bit. So grab some of that lighter sandy color and just build up on the side here. We're just going to do it as a new layer on top of the treasure chest and just add in this layer. We'll blend this out as we go, but again, I wanted to add it to look like it was buried treasure. And then we're going to use that darker color on the side here for the sand because it is in the shadow, so we want to be darker. So we're just going to build it up on the side here, again, blending it out similar to what we just did with the front, and then we'll be pretty close to being done here. And now let's go ahead and turn that glow layer back on. One last kind of detail that we're going to do is we're going to erase some of this glow. So it's very heavy on the crab. It's very heavy on a lot of the treasure chest, but the crab, as part of its body, is facing away from this glow. So there is going to be less of it. So I'm grabbing that soft brush. I'm using it as an eraser. I'm just going to erase a little bit here so that it's not so bright against the body. Again, it's kind of going to glow on top, and so that's why I'm erasing a little bit around the eyes, around the front of the crab here, and then we're going to erase a little bit on the treasure chest as well where that light wouldn't be hitting. And then I did change the mode of this, so you just click on the end there next to the layer you're looking for. I wanted it to be slightly different, so I changed it to add, and then I turned the opacity down. I didn't want it to be so bright, but I still want it to look like a soft glow. So I just adjusted that real quick, and now I'm just going to erase the inside here of the treasure chest where that light wouldn't be hitting. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll be pretty much close to done. And with that, our sketch is complete. Thank you so much for being a Patreon supporter and watching this treasure chest come to life. I hope you had a lot of fun, and don't forget to like and leave a comment to let me know what you think. You can find the free template, brushes, and the color palette all listed down below in the description. Thanks again for following along, and I'll see you in the next video.